Good evening, great people. Welcome to our show today. It's amazing. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for everyone that is following us. Thank you for everyone that is taking their time to come and share with us this wisdom. So we want to welcome you. We want to tell you this is the place where you need to be. This is a place where you need to come so that we can be able to build one another. So thank you so much for seeing you here and getting a place where we can build one another, where we can share nuggets, wisdom. So feel honored to be part of us and also allowing us to be part of you this evening. So I want to welcome all those who are joining us. I can see Carol. Washera, thank you for coming. God bless you. Keep sharing this, keep tagging your friends. Reverend Jane, thank you for coming as usual. God bless you. Thank you for representing to our diaspora. We are very honored to have you around here. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Ref. I can see you saying, Sam the coach, keep sowing. May the grace carry you to high places. Niko ndani. And make sure that you have a pen today because some wisdom is going to flow. So those people who are not around here, kindly, the best thing you can do is making sure that you're able to share this link on your page. Make sure you are able even to pin it on your status so that we can be able to reach as many people as we can. And I know as the people in the sociology will be able to say, you are because I am and I am because you are. So make sure that you are sharing this wisdom, you are creating a platform for us to be able to grow together. Let's know where you are watching us. Let us how the sound is. Let us know how the video is so that once we get into our show will be able to flow. So someone should be able to confirm to us how the video is, how the sound is, and I know it will be good to go. Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. Allow me to get into today's topic that is breaking the mind cage. This is one of the topics that is so pertinent into my heart, that is so close into my heart, that anytime I think about progression, how we can grow ourselves, how we can be able to advance in life, you can never run away from the mind. And most of us, we have gotten to ourselves in a place where we live in a certain boundary that we have created for ourselves. And tonight, that's how we want to see, how can you be able to break forth from this mentality, from this mind cage, from this kind of corner that we have cornered ourselves, from this kind of patterns we have about ourselves, about our future. And that's what we'll be sharing tonight, how we can be able to break from the mind, from the limitation that we have created for ourselves, and the things that we have repeatedly gotten ourselves into. And we feel like, sometimes in life you make 5 steps, then you ahead, then you make 10 steps backward. It's like you always mark timing or stagnation. And that is what we are praying tonight, that we'll be able to break forth from this cage and be able to advance. And I know what is a cage. It's like a box. And I think I have shared time and again that when you go to orphanage, you'll get even a whole lion in a cage. However powerful it is, however strong is it, not even remembering that he's the king of the jungle, but it can do less. Why? Because regardless of the capacity and the power and the knowledge and everything that lion has, as long as it's in a cage, there is less that can happen. And that's the whole thing, that when you talk about breaking the mind cage, there are people who are gifted, but they have boxed themselves in a certain manner. They will never progress. And if they make progress, is not you cannot is not in relations, or it's not you cannot be able to have a relationship between what they have achieved and their ability and their capacity. So there is so much about mind. There is so much that we need to learn tonight about mind, because mind is everything. Mind is everything. That's why everything that we do with our hand has to be birthed in our mind. I always say this, that work is a reflection of our minds. that anything that hands do, it shows, it actually communicates and open to the world. This is what I'm thinking, and that's what I do. So it's very important to be able to go to the factory setting, and that is the mind, and see how can we deal with our mind so that we can be able to progress. I've said time and again that the strongest and the most expensive gift that God gave man, it is the gift of mind. It's a gift of mind, because everything that you think to do, when they say that in Proverbs 23:7 part B, that as the man thinketh, so he is, that everything you think about yourself, you can be it. Everything you think you can do it. Because the energy to maintain a momentum in your life, energy to maintain a certain level of your pace, it's all in the mind. That's how strong our mind is. And tonight we want to see, how can we break from this cage that we have found ourselves? Because let's agree, we have put ourselves in a certain box. And how do you get to know that you have caged your mind? 4 things very fast that you'll know you're in a certain cage. Number 1, you'll get every time you want to do something, you have to take so long doubting yourself. There are people who doubt even their own shadow. That is the greatest place that, or the greatest thing that snatches our time is self-doubt. And the self-doubt is bad. It is in our mind. That's a cage when you get ourselves. That, can I make it? From where I come from what I know, from my environment, the kind of people that I associate with. Do I think I can be able to do this? Actually, even there are people who actually voluntarily will go looking for opinion from other people. They actually even call people asking them, do you think I can do this? Yes, I know it's very important to be able to get, feedback, but most of the time you're asking so that you can validate your doubts, how you're doubting yourself. And one thing that men that have, stagnated for so long, it is because of doubting. That action that you need to take, that thing that you want to get into, but you're doubting, will it succeed? If I get into that business, will I succeed? And most of the time I have said things that devil will always put us to a place of fear. Because, once you fear, you start doubting yourself. When you start doubting, you lose focus and concentration. Anytime you're driving a car and you start doubting yourself, you're moving from your lane, I'm telling you, eventually you find yourself moving, because it's started from the mind. That's how powerful our mind is. And those are the cages that we need to break forth. You cannot keep doubting yourself. There are people who will never risk in life because they think like risk is not part of them. And risk taking, breaking from doubt, overcoming fear, it is all in the mind. It is all in the mind. The moment you wake up in the morning and tell your mind, I can do it, I'll go for it, I'm ready for it, I'm ready to pay the price, that is the moment you start now making progression in life. That's the moment you start moving forward. When you rise up and you want to move forward, that is the whole thing. So if you want to know that you have limited your mind, number 1, when you find doubting yourself, anytime you have to do, there is a doubt. There is another voice telling you can't do it. There's a voice telling you there is something about your mind. There is something about your mind. Number 2, every time when you find yourself like you take so long to overcome what you went through, whether it was a success or it was failure, there are people who have lived their past in their present, and that they never enjoy their future. People who they are not able to overcome, they're not able to detach themselves from the past. They have caged themselves. I had a business in 2010 and it failed. Since then, I have not been able to recover. 13 years down the line, you are still saying you're not able to recover. Someone broke in a relationship, 2010, up to date, they're living like they're in 2010. 13 years down the line. What happened is because time is moving, but you're static where you are 2010. There are people who will talk about their 2010 that living 2023. There are people who have a vivid image about their 2013 than what they have done today. It's because they have caged their mind. They refuse to progress from their past. However successful you are 2013, the only thing you can do about 2013 is the lesson. However much you are hurt, you failed, you're disappointed, you're frustrated, it's okay. That happened. And because we cannot go back and change, what we can do is getting the lesson and applying it. If you want to know you're in a mind cage, every time you fail to detach yourself, I know you need to take a time. People, different personality, have different ways of how they're able to overcome things. If you need to take a week, there are people who will take a week, there are people who will take a month, there are people who will take a year. But at least a year is enough for you to be able now to rise up. When you fall down, rise up, shake the dust, and move on. Focus. If tonight you're that person who they're always about where they came from, then you have a problem when it comes to the mind. You are in a cage. You have caged yourself. There are places you have refused to give yourself freedom. And remember, one thing that you get into a cage, what you lack, and one thing that you limit yourself, it is the freedom of mind. That is the greatest freedom you can ever get. You'll never buy freedom of, freedom of mind, with money. You're the only person you can be able to set yourself free from the things you have gone through, the things that you wanted to go through and you didn't go through. There are people that there's certain way we are cultured. There's certain way we were brought up. There's certain backgrounds that we went through and we think they defined us and our ability. You'll go to a certain village and you realize that there's a certain way they do things. There's a certain way everybody have to behave. I've gone, and let me give this an example because I know there are people who can relate. I've visited a number of, when you go to their countries and you find there is a certain chamas. And every member has to be in that chama. And if you fail to get into that chama, there is a way you have been conditioned. Yes, I know there is kind of a unity. But now, there is what, and Kikuyu, they love it, they call Wedhikewe Moyo, that Kikundi Wedhikewe Moyo. Like you get to a whole village, every member is in, but they don't have a chama when they'll say, we want to educate our children. Let's pull resources together and educate our children. They'll never pull resources and say, we want to build stony buildings, stone houses. So let's pull our resources together. But they will find there is a certain culture that you have been brought up. Even when you move, there are people who are in Nairobi. And they have to send their contribution of that chama. They're in Nairobi, but they have to contribute. Because there is a certain cage you got into yourself. You are brought up. That's just an example of, upbringing. Your background has brought you, has shaped you, and has put certain limit in terms of thinking. And you feel, if I don't do that, if I don't join that group, then I'll never progress. Or probably there is something will happen and I'll not be able to grow. So that's the whole thing about getting yourself in a cage. There are certain limits you have refused to break. And anytime you make a progress, when you get into a new chama, you are still having some, some connections there that are limiting to contribute and commit yourself to these, which probably could make you a better person. So there are certain upbringings we have gone through and they have shaped this, the way we should think. There are certain thinking patterns we hold because of where we are brought in. That's the whole thing about caging our minds. That's about, every time you want to make a progress, there is something will trigger and you'll be able to come out. But now because we are talking, the topic today is how are we going to break the mind's cage? Number one, and very important, you must take that bold action. You must take that bold action, that bold step. And this bold step will affect 4 dimensions of your life. Number one, you must call yourself a meeting and agree. I know where I've brought up, I know how I've been thinking, but now I want to get myself, to expose myself to different environments. I want to take that bold action, and what I've been thinking for 10 years, I will do it tomorrow. Actually, the best thing to know that you're breaking from your mind's cage is that bold step of doing what you have not been doing. If probably you have caged yourself to a certain, for example, you're dealing with, weight loss, and you're feeling like there are people who tried and they got to a place and they give us and the way we console ourselves, this is how I am. If you want, do you know how serious you want it? And you make that decision. From tomorrow, I'm going to adjust my walking program. I'm going to adjust my, my eating program, my eating habit, my social habit. That decision. If you want to know you have broke from that mind cage that you have been in, it is that bold step to start now. I don't know what thing you have postponed for so long. For you to break that mind forth, you need to start it now. You need to decide, I've been here for so long, I've stayed here for long, and what I need to do, I need to arise in my mind. I need to move forward now, not tomorrow, not yesterday. It is now. Because the greatest way to break your mind, it is rising and saying, I need to expose myself to different kind of discussion, to different kind of environment, to different kind of doing things, a different way of handling things, a different way of talking to people. That's a moment to realize, now slowly I'm getting out of that cage. Slowly, I'm getting out of that cage. Slowly, I'm getting better. Slowly, I can be able to stand on myself. That is one way of breaking your mind cage. Action now. Number 2, you must be ready to pay the price. Change is never sweet. Everybody want to live in their comfort zone. Everybody want to live in a sympathy. Do you know, everywhere you go, people can feel sympathy for you. But do you know what? That's not life. You need to break that cage where that you have to keep complaining. You have to look for sympathy and mercy. You have to look for pity from people. You need to arise and wake up and say, do you know what? I'm ready to pay the price to be a better person. I'm ready to pay for the results that I want. I cannot live in the same place and still complaining there is no job, still complaining no one who loves me, stop complaining no one who cares for me. You need to arise and say, do you know what? I want to focus on improving myself. That personal decision where you arise and said, you know what, I've stayed here for so long. Look at what in the Gospel of John chapter 5, when you read from verses 1 to 8. And you get this man went to the pool of Bethsaida and he stayed there for 38 years. And this man could wake up every day and complain, do you know, I have no one. When the angel stirs the water, no one is there to pull me, or rather to push me or put me in the pool. So everybody is looking at me. That's the moment where you cage yourself and you think the best friend is your situation. You can change your situation when you change your mind. You can change your situation when you don't comfort yourself in your circumstance. If kama una rent and you start now crying there, I'm telling you, it's good because it's a feeling, but at the end of the day, a feeling does not pay rent. So you wake up and say, I need to start getting result with my life. Majority of us, we have welcomed some situation in our life and they have become our companion. And we cannot separate ourselves from our situation. It's like this situation became part and parcel of our life. And we always say this, no permanent situation in our life, no permanent circumstances in our life. But those decisions we make in those situations, most of the time will be permanent or will have a permanent impact on our life. So you need to arise and say, I'm ready to pay the price to change myself. I'm ready to pay the price of calculating my words. Let me check and recognize those who have joined us along the way, even as I take a breath. Thank you. Thank you, John, for coming in all the way from Nakuru. Monica, umepotelea wapi? I can see Wamboi Mboro here. I can see Charlotta. Thank you. Kindly keep sharing. Keep sharing. Let's make sure we are sharing this link. If we are here, we are over 20. So let's also make sure that we have over 20 shares of this link. And I'll appreciate each and everyone who is taking their time to share this link and be able to either post on their page so that we can be able to reach as many people as we can. So I was talking about, are you ready to pay the price? Are you ready to be, that place where you are crazy about, I don't know, that craziness, that is what we need. To say, do you know what? I need to make a difference in my family. I need to make a difference in my village. I need to make a difference from my workplace. If everybody is talking about this, I'll change the way I view life. I'll change the way I see things. Because we have been in this for so long. We have been in this for so long. Actually, you ask people, they will give they will testify of how they can't make it. And you ask them, which measurement tool did you use to measure your ability of how you can achieve or not? And you know what? The biggest thing that we need is to dare. That business you want to try, dare and go for it. That group you want to start, dare and go for it. I'm telling you, it's better you failing when you're trying rather than failing not to try. Guys, I don't know how many people I'm talking and they have been in that cocoon for so long. For so long. And tonight I want to tell you, I don't know how many people are saying, now I've made a personal decision that I'm ready to pay the price. And this price might be so costly because sometimes it's changing the kind of friends we have. Because do you know what? The kind of people we listen to, they shape our thinking patterns. If, my friend, you're walking with people who will never see anything good from you, I'm telling you, never see any good thing coming out of you. If the people you're walking with will never believe in you, I'm telling you, you'll never believe in yourself. Because what you hear becomes your words, and your words becomes your action. And of course, your action becomes becomes your behavior, and your behavior becomes your habit, and your habit becomes your personality. It's come from hearing. So you need to pay the price of closing your ears and walking away and getting a different environment, and also accepting to open your ears. Because also there are people who have closed their ears. They have been told time and again, you can do it, try. And they're like, Missy Wezi. You need to open your ears. For you to silence one voice, then there must be a bigger voice that is speaking. So if that voice within you is telling you you can't make it, to break that cage, you need to hear a more stronger, a more confirming voice that is telling you you can do it. And you need to hear it repeatedly. Whatever faith you want to build, then you must hear. Do you know the Bible says in Romans 10 verse 17 that faith comes by hearing, and hearing the word of God. The same thing, if you were to say that faith you want to hear about, I can do it, then you have to keep hearing it and hearing it. I don't know how many people are saying that, do you know what, I'm ready. I've made a personal decision. I'm not going to say here again. I am ready to pay the price of losing some friends. I'm ready to lose some some of the things that I have achieved, so that I can create a vacuum for myself to expose myself to a bigger prize. There's sacrifice that we need to make. There's some investments we need to make. Some of us need to go for workshops. We need to go for seminar. Some of us need to go to school. We need to expose ourselves to a certain knowledge, to a certain wisdom. There's certain wisdom that need to be poured in us. There's certain wisdom need to stir us. You cannot remain in the same place, the same kind of books that you're reading, the kind of sites that you visit, and you think you're going to grow. You'll never grow beyond what you see, what you hear, and what you do. So if you want to grow yourself beyond that, then it means you have pushed yourself to a higher ground of hearing something new. You have to push yourself to seeing something new, and you must also push yourself to doing something new. That's how we are going to break the mind cage. But remain in the same place, same year. That's why I challenge people and I tell them, plan and expose yourself. If you're in one city, if you have been in Nairobi, save some few coins, go to Nakuru for 1 or 2 days. Try and see what is new there. By the virtue of you even shifting physically, you're also going to start some, territorial spirits. That probably there are things you will see and there are things you will catch. As you're coming back with a new mind. You can't be in the same place. And you're dreaming of big things. How do you bring up things that you didn't see? And they overcame by their testimony. So that means they were testifying because they saw. You can never speak of something you didn't see. So I pray as we're talking about, are you ready to pay the price? How dearly do you want to see that change? How dearly do you want to, free yourself from that mind that has always been limiting you? That mind has been telling you can't do it. That mind that tells you, oh, do you know what? I'm not better. I'm not good. There are people who are better than me. All of us, we are not equal. All of us are not the same. But do you know what? Each one of us, there is something they have the word is looking for. There is a solution you're holding, and that is what the word is looking for. It might be small, but that thing that you're calling small can bring a total change. If one grain of maize falling on the seed, on the soil, after a given period of time, after the farmer sacrificing, you are able to get a whole maize cob. That maize cob, if you are to multiply it within a 3 or 4 years, 4 or 5 seasons, from one grain, you can have a whole acre. That small mind you're despising today, if you are able to break from your mind and accept humble beginnings and accept I will do it and go forth, I'm telling you, in 1, 2, 3 years, you'll be celebrating of the milestones you're going to make. Tonight, I want everybody will hear this voice. Arise from that cocoon you have pushed yourself. Do you know that corner you have pushed yourself and you think you can't do it? Arise and do something. Number 3, and very important, for you to break mind cage, you must desire to see newness in your life. There must be a newness. There is something that you'll see. You know, sometimes when you see something, you desire it. As tumeka maisha ya uzee, you are 25 but tumeka maisha ya uzee, there is nothing new, there is nothing exciting in your life. We need to birth some newness in us. That newness, when people will always be asking you, where do you get this? How do you do things? Because every time there is a newness, and you know what happened? It also works as a catalyst for you. It works as a motivation for you. Newness. The reason why we are paying the cost is because there is something new we want to achieve. Once you get that thing, it becomes a motivation, it becomes an encouragement. Huwezi kaa tu maisha kutosheleka, comfort zone. From Jan to December, same way of talking, same way of sleeping, same way of eating, same way of dressing. Sometimes be crazy and say, this year there is something new I want in my life. And you know what? If you achieve it this year, 2023, what happened is, when you be making resolution for 2024, you'll be saying, if I was able to do this and I achieved it, so if I plan to get 2 of the same, then you see, by itself, you have a point of reference. If I did this, I can do better. There is a place where you can fall back and say, if I did this, I can do it. That whole thing about seeing a newness. When you see something new, the whole thing, you start rubbing off those limitations. You start breaking them. You start now taking new territories. You start taking new boundaries, because there is something new is being created now and then. And what happens is, you start rubbing the old. When the old goes, the new comes in. When the old goes, the new comes in. And life becomes exciting. Life becomes sweet. But the whole thing, we have put a boundary. It's like I have allergic to new things. You'll get someone staying in one estate and he rents for 25 years. And I wonder, no one was created to make one landlord, to bless one. You're not created to be a blessing to one landlord. Shift. If you shift from here, shift. The 3rd time, you'll get mad and say, the 4th time I don't want to shift. I want to go to my place. But the place of comfort zone, a place moja, one estate, like, do you know what? It gets into your mind. Like likao yako. By the time you are 16, you realize, man, hey, by then asimangai hao ni yangu, lakini kurent. Do you know, put some targets for yourself that will shock you. Lay down some targets. Plan some things. Aim high. Push yourself. Don't be comfortable until you achieve it. But then let me tell you, and this will be shocking. These 4 things are indicators that you're growing yourself, in terms of mentally and mind and attitude. These 4. And please don't forget, number 1, when you find you're not comfortable, when you don't achieve what you had set. When you don't console yourself. Most of us, when we set to do something and we don't do it, we're not hard on ourselves. You don't call yourself a meeting and evaluate yourself and say, Sam, you had said you'll do this week, you didn't do it, why didn't? If you don't have those kind of conversation, I'm telling you, are far from, I don't want to say, but breaking the mind cage. But tonight, if you want to see indicators of someone who is ready, number 1 is that place. You'll call yourself a meeting and you'll be hard on yourself. I didn't achieve this. Why? I want to see whether I didn't observe time, whether I didn't have discipline. That's the moment to realize, now I'm making progress. That's the moment now you're moving on the right direction. If you set goals and you don't achieve them and you don't feel pain, you don't evaluate yourself, I'm telling you, you're like, it's okay, there's another day. That mentality of there is another day, don't worry, we'll make it. Man, if you keep having that attitude, I'm telling you, even going to, to take a shower and you don't do it, you not even feel anything. Why? Because you got used to postponing things. You got used to comfort a zone. So even if you don't achieve it, you don't feel anything. But tonight, if you want to know you're moving in the right direction, when you don't feel comfortable with yourself, when you have set this and you didn't achieve it, and you call an urgent meeting, when you have an urgent meeting with yourself and you take yourself to a meeting with a diary and evaluate yourself and be able to mark for yourself and be able to set deadline for you and be serious with them and keep reminding yourself, then you know you're moving forward. Number two, when you start getting uncomfortable, when people are talking negative, you know, that when you start getting so uncomfortable, when you know there are people who are very comfortable with the people, whatever they say, however they say it, you have no problem. The moment you realize you're not comfortable with a certain kind of way people are talking, that's a moment to realize your mind has already shifted. You're no longer a common mind. There's an extra unique thing about your mind. It can detect that discussion. There is a wall that you put. There's certain wall proofs that you put, and you realize that is not me. I cannot entertain it. The moment you start walking away, you know, we have got this kind of, let me quote it, a Christian character of accommodating almost everything. People will talk ill and you're part of them. They will discourage you, you're part of them. You know they're pulling you down, you're part of them. And you're feeling like, what am I supposed to do? What will I do? Walk away. It is your life. It is your purpose. God gave you life and he is expecting to get something out of that life. The moment you realize you have gotten to a level when you can walk out things that are not making you better, when you know I cannot entertain such conversation, when I know I cannot contain behaviors, when I know I cannot contain certain friends, and you're comfortable walking away and you're not feeling sorry, you're not apologetic about it, then I will tell you, you have started growing mentally. You have started now shifting your mind to a place of, I'm no longer caged either by the society or how people see. Number three, it's when you can psych yourself for anything and for everything to achieve what you want. When you realize that you can be able to sacrifice today for tomorrow, for your own life. When you can be able to sit down and ask myself, when I'll be 50, what will I be doing? And then work it out and work it down and backward and come to where you are today and start putting some serious resolution and action. And you're following them to the latter. And not just to meet at the present needs, but also you can be able to connect to your future. If you cannot connect with your 30 years from now, by God's grace, if God is going to give you that year depending on your age, if you can't be in touch with it, then there's a problem. There's a problem. And you know what? Majority of us, we console ourselves that nikipata food ya leo mi tu niko sawa, nikipata rent ya this month niko sawa, next month God atatengeneza way. But you know what? Even God is God of order and God of plan. That's why I say, where there's no vision, people perish. When you realize you don't have a vision, you are still in a certain cage of mind that you can do things anyhowly and life it will take its own course. Those three things, if you can be able to take them dearly, I'm telling you, they'll be critical indicators of how you're growing yourself, how you're pushing and shaping yourself to a greater destiny. Those are the indicators that show you are no longer in a certain box. You're no longer in certain cages. You're no longer in certain boundaries. You have break forth and you're moving forward because you have realized there is a certain newness I want in my life. There is something I want in my life and I have to go for it. And I'm ready for it. Number 4, as we conclude, if you want to break your mind cage, it doesn't matter how long you have stayed. It doesn't matter how long you have been there. You need to get new information, new knowledge, new wisdom. New knowledge, new information, and new understanding and wisdom. You need to pour yourself something new. The way of rubbing the things that have been there, it is receiving something new. That's why I said you need to take yourself back to school. You need to see you attending a new class. It's not just a matter of getting papers, but there's certain wisdom you are desiring. There's certain things you listen. There's certain motivation you listen to. And you're like, I want to go to those levels. I cannot settle for here. Their aims, their place you are aiming to go, the areas you want to grow yourself to. There's certain people you want to listen to. There's certain anointings you want to shape, to shake yourself with, because that's how you start rubbing off. You need to move. You need to migrate. You need to migrate. You need to wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I've stayed in Kiambu town for so long. I want to see what will happen if I go to Thika. You know, when you look at, you know what Abraham was told by God, as far as your eyes shall see, so shall I give. That place of seeing and also going. That place of sitting down and saying, next year there is something I want to do, and I want to make sure I will do it. Because the moment you push yourself, you start to grow. You start to grow. You can feel a tangible growth in your life. That moment when you expose yourself, when you're ready to pay even to sit under someone and learn and say, do you know what? There is something I want happen in my life. There's certain way I was brought up in my family. There is a certain way I went to school. There's certain conversation I have been in through, and they're not adding value. They're not making me better, and I want to realize that I can change it. The moment we get into those conversations, self-conversation, when we get ourselves into those kind of meetings, I'm telling you, it will be easy for us to break the mind cage. As you sit down and evaluate yourself, how will I stop doubting myself? How ready am I to pay the cost and the price to where I am to be? And then once you are able to do that, and you have, get out of that box you have been in, there are 4 ingredients that will facilitate you to move out of your cage very fast. Number 1, positive-minded man or lady. You need to be positive-minded. Positivity. I don't know how positive you are. I don't know how positive you look at your situation and see something positive. I don't know what you're going through now, but you can see light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how many people are saying, yes, I know I don't have 1, 2, 3, but I thank God, because even the mind to think of, or rather the mind to think I don't have these and these, it is still a blessing. Be positive. You might face a lot of opposition. You must get people discouraging you. You might get people disappointing you, frustrating you, but remain positive. If any man with a positive mind will get a positive, 100% results. It doesn't matter how long it will take. But that place of being positive, it helps you to stick on. It helps you to hold on. It helps you not to give up. One ingredient of breaking the mind cage is being positive. You must be positive. Number 2, and very important, you must remain original. You must remain authentic. Be yourself. Don't live other people's life. Be yourself. Don't cover. If there are things you need to deal with them. Be authentic. I know we have had this cliche also in town where they're saying, fake it until you make it. My friend, before you make it, it's going to break you. And by the time you're making it, you have no energy even to enjoy what you're making. So don't fake it. Walk that journey of being authentic. Walk that journey of being yourself. Walk that journey. Present who you are. People might not be comfortable with you. It's okay. That's who you are. But along the way, don't be careless. Also get feedback from people as you're working on yourself, as you're progressing yourself. And I have said this, and I have said time and again, the moment you start achieving results, people start becoming comfortable with you. Actually, people are not so much comfortable with listening to you. They're so much comfortable when they start seeing results. When they can feel you're progressing. People want to associate with people who are moving forward. So be authentic. This place of, just covering up so that you maintain a certain class, a certain club, a certain way of doing things, please, you'll kill yourself. If you want to break that mind cage of where you can fall down and pick yourself and move on, it's when you remain authentic to yourself. So you need to be positive-minded, then be authentic, be original, be in what you do. Be yourself. Cut a niche for yourself. If people were to talk about you, what is that one thing they'll talk about you? What is that one thing you'll be able to say? So and so, tunamjua na hii. How passionate are you about it? How much do you love it that you can pay the price to maintain that signature, that brand of yours? But if you are to sit down, what is your brand? What is your brand? Because your brand becomes you, becomes that original. That's what makes a brand that, you can even be sued for using someone's brand, because that is the originality. That is your mind. That you give back to the world something that was not there, because you reach out to yourself, you did a self-test, you did a self-evaluation, and realize this is what I'm bringing out, and that's what I'll stand with. It might take time, it might take certain period, but I'm ready to stick to it. You need to be positive-minded. You need to be authentic. Number 3, you must remain persistent and consistent. If you're consistent in persisting in what you want, I'm telling you, when you persist, then you are consistent, you are constantly pursuing that what you want, you're going to wear out resistance. That thing that you're feeling resistance, when you keep pushing, I'm reminded in the mind about, this story in the Bible. There's this woman who used to go to the king every morning because there's certain justice she needed or she wanted. And she came to a place where this king acknowledged and said, this woman, with her persistence, with her consistency, and she got what she wanted. I don't know how many people are saying, you know what? I know this thing is not easy, but I'm ready. I don't know for how long, but I'm not giving up. That consistency, that behavior of building consistency build a system in your mind. There's a certain system you create over time. There's certain things that start working in you because there is that consistent and persistent in you that you have. Wake up in the morning, there's a certain direction you're pushing yourself. In the evening, there is a certain way you're pushing yourself. In a certain day, there is a way you're pushing yourself. That consistent itself, it's going to yield result. It's going to pull resources. It's going to pull people who can support our vision. If people will support you, they want to be sure you're not there for a day. If people will stand with you, they want to be sure you are there for a year. They want to be sure you are there for 10 years. If people want to invest in you, you cannot see investor coming to invest in a new company. They are not sure if you are serious. They have to test. And the royal test is already tested when there is persistence and consistent. People will feel you have been there long enough to be tested and to be proven. I don't know how many people tonight are saying, do you know what? Getting out of this cage, overcoming that thing that you're brought up with, it will require a lot of persistence and consistency. It will require to tell yourself every morning, I know it is not easy, but I will walk it. I know it is not that good, but I will do it. Persistence and consistency wear out resistance. I don't know what is that thing that you're feeling pulling you down. Hold on. Don't give up. Brethren, brothers and sisters, we cannot continue caging ourselves. We cannot continue entertaining limitations in our life. We have a God who can do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that we can think or imagine, according to the power that worketh in us. What is that power? The way we think about ourselves, the way we value ourselves, the way we can be able to cut ourselves and say, you know what, this is who I am. I've realized most of the time, when you have a stand, when you have a clarity of mind, when you don't doubt yourself, when you can communicate consistently and persistently, people start believing in you. But you know what, we keep shifting goals. Today you're saying this, tomorrow you're doing this. People are not sure about where you're going. Even in leadership, people are not sure where you are taking them. But be persistent. Hold on and pay the price. One day, you'll get the results. I hope I'm clear in my communication and in my sharing. Thank you for coming in. I can see Beth Wajoni. Thank you so much, Beth, for coming in. God bless you. Hey, my friend from Nyahururu, Eric, thank you for coming in. God bless you. I hope Nyahururu is doing very well. Thank you, guys. Hey, this is amazing. So at least today we have new members. Let's welcome them. Jane Moaura, thank you for coming in. That is our new member in the house, and we are grateful. So if as I summarize, I want to encourage you, brethren, analyze yourself, evaluate yourself, see what are the limitations that you have for yourself? Or what are the handles that you need to jump? What are these handles that have always pulled you down? What are these voices that speak to you that you can't make it? What are these doubting patterns have been there in your life? Every time you want to arise, there is something that tells you, oh, do you know what? Probably I'm not good like so and so. Probably I cannot do like so and so. Probably I cannot, handle so and so. But do you know what? Who told you? Go try it. Cut yourself for trying something new. Better in your stories, you'll be able to say, I've tried for 100 times, and you know what? At least I've made it in 5 times. Let's have a different dialogue. Let's not have common conversation. When you meet friends, don't just have coffee. Let there be something. Can we psych one another? Can we push one another? And let people, do you know what? I need to see something exciting in your life. I need to see something new in your life. I need to see something, awesome in your life. Let's not entertain minds of, we just meet, hi, how you doing? And most of the time, I get uncomfortable when we meet with friends. And if you're meeting for an hour, 45 minutes talk, it's catching up. It's doing the past tense of what have happened in our life. And then so we have to meet another meeting and discuss our past. When are we going to have genuine conversation? Past is gone. Present is here. Future is coming. Can we have conversation on how do we build our future? How do we have a better future? When we catch up for coffee, there is value for that coffee. As much as we are doing catch up, as much as we are feeling how we have come a long way, but also we need to ask ourselves, what is your next goal for the next 1 month? What are you doing this week that is to Nairobi and make another WhatsApp group for people from Gilgil? It's like you are in town, but you're thinking about your village. When I come to Nairobi, I want to get people from Taita, one from Kisumu, another one from Moyale. So that I want to know, what is that you think in Moyale? What is that thing in Taita? What is that thing in Kisumu? So when I'll go back to Gilgit, there is something new. But you'll get there people, they have even their WhatsApp group. And they have, I think I got these and I was like, sometimes when we have alumni, from our back schools, and you look at the discussions, the kind of photos we throw there, if someone is taking you to 1980, and you're like, and you never have a discussion about how do we now progress from here, so by the time we are 30, we'll be better than we are today. Those are the conversations, and they're hard conversation. But if you have to break from the mind cage, we need to engage to uncomfortable conversation, but we'll ease. But if we want to discuss what is comfortable, then that means we're going to get average results. So we need, even in our meetings, to have uncomfortable discussions that can propel us to higher grounds, to higher thinking, to higher actionizing of how things are done. And I know this life, God have given us everything that takes us to live a purposeful life. It is you and I to make a decision of how I want to live it. It's you and I who will make a decision and say, there are things I need to adjust in my life. There are certain things I want to see in my life. There are things that I want to run away from my life. And there are things I want to run to in my life so that I can make my life comfortable. That's my humble submission to you, brethren, brothers and sisters, that we need to move out of limiting ourselves. We need to move from those boundaries that we have demarcated for ourselves, and we have lived there for long. Like the 4 leprosy, the 4 guys who had leprosy, and they said, we stay here, we'll die, we go, we'll die. But you know what? We arise physically, mentally, and spiritually, and they moved. And of course, you know what happened. We need to make that radical decision, even as we progress. Thank you so much for everybody who, Janet Njoroge, thank you. Also, Janet Njoroge is our new member today. And thank you guys for everybody that is making sure that we are sharing this link. And every day in our show, imagine we always get 1 or 2 members who are joining us. And that's amazing. Even our old members who have been always persistent, consistent with us, God bless you. We never take it for granted that you take your time, you take your moment to follow us, to share, to comment. Imagine if you are here with my director and nobody else. Will not feel the oof. When I take my phone and I can see some comment, it fuels me. It energizes me to move on, even to think what will happen next week. So guys, thank you so much. God bless you. It's amazing to always have you, and we are looking forward to building this show together, making it better, because I know where there is unity, there is strength, and we're looking forward to building the Well Show together. So until next week on Thursday, when we'll be doing the Leadership Corner, keep it tab. Keep it close, keep sharing. If you are a new member and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, kindly land to my YouTube channel, Sam Minor STV. Kindly subscribe, give me that subscription, like it, follow us, so that every time we upload a video, you can be able to follow us. And I know we are doing better and we are growing together. Until next week, shalom, shalom. God bless you. We love you and we love you and we love you so much. Thank you.